And here's the real crazy part about this. With him being listed at 6'5", we'll just say roughly 220, there were some serious talks about this guy being a real and legit starting quarterback in the NFL one day. What I'm about to get into next is one of the biggest plot twists you may ever see in a story video like we do on the channel here. I think it goes without being said, Christian McCaffrey is a one-on-one. He has every trait that you want in a running back. He's strong, fast, elusive, dynamic, and when he has the ball in his hands, it's about as electric as it gets. He's always been an outstanding player, even dating back to his high school days at Stanford, and now in the NFL, we see what he's doing. And I could sit up here for the next 4 to 5 minutes and rant and rave on Christian McCaffrey, but you know his story. Today, though, we're here to talk about his long-lost brother that goes by the name of no other than Dylan McCaffrey. And what's really interesting about Dylan McCaffrey is he was a highly regarded recruit as well. He was a 4-star. And not only was he a 4-star recruit, he got invited to the Elite 11, which, if you know anything about high school football, that is a very prestigious honor for quarterbacks. And although Christian McCaffrey out of the brothers, he was getting all the shine and glory, at the time when Dylan McCaffrey was in high school, he wasn't too far behind. This guy was a star quarterback, the number 2 ranked overall player at his position, and he was about to go to a big-time D1 school and program. And things were looking great for Christian's brother Dylan, but let's just say they didn't turn out great. There's many questions people have been asking about Dylan McCaffrey, even to this day, but it all circles back to the one, and I mean the one main and big question we're going to try to get to the bottom of in today's video. What really happened to Dylan McCaffrey? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you having a great and fantastic day. And real quick, before we get into this video, I want to say major shout out to this comment right here, and this is the main reason we're making this video. I asked you guys on one of the previous story videos, hey, let me know some recommendations down below on some players you want to see stories on, and this was one of the most liked comments. I bring this up to say this. Number one, thank you for the comment, thank you for the recommendation, but number two, I'm a fan of the people and I want to get the people what they want. If there's another player or multiple players you want to see some videos on, drop the comments down below, and more than likely one of the most liked comments, we'll make a video on that player next. I really enjoy making these videos, doing all the research and whatnot, and I love me a good story, and I think you guys do as well. We got a lot to get into. Like I said, if you have any recommendations for future story videos, feel free to drop it down below. But alright, man, blah, blah, shut the crap up. No, don't. Let's get into it. Man, oh man, good old Dylan McCaffrey. And I'm not gonna lie to you boys, I didn't know a lot about this guy heading into this video. We're probably all in the same boat on this, or most of us. The only thing I knew about him to a slice of bits is he was Christian McCaffrey's brother, and he was pretty good at football. That's it. And since I didn't know a lot about him, I just automatically assumed it was a case of, okay, he's a younger brother who was stuck in Christian McCaffrey's shadow, and he just in general wasn't that good of a player or a prospect. But that wasn't the case, at least in high school. And speaking of high school, that's where we're going to start off with our story. Dylan McCaffrey, similar to his brother Christian McCaffrey, attended Baylor Christian High School in Littleton, Colorado. I do apologize if I'm saying the high school name wrong. I couldn't find a pronunciation, but I think it's Baylor. It may be Valor, but we're just going to go with Baylor. You get the point. Not too big of a deal. As a freshman in the year of 2013 through 14, he didn't play a lot, but in the year 2014 through 15, as a 10th grader, this is where his career started to take off. He had over 2,300 passing yards, not too shabby, completed roughly 60% of his passes, and he had 22 touchdowns to only 6 INTs. Not bad whatsoever, you'll take that. His junior season, even better, jumped up his passing yards to 2,800 yards, completed 65% of his passes this time, had 27 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions. So you see right here, every stat from his sophomore junior season, it got better. More touchdowns, more passing yards, better completion percentage, and fewer INTs. And we're just going to zoom through this because you know how it goes. I try not to hype up these 3, 4, and 5-star recruits too much in high school because they're playing up against future insurance salesmen and DoorDash drivers. And that's just reality. Any 4-star recruit out there is going to dominate high school competition. His senior season was a carbon copy paste. He had roughly 2,800 passing yards, completed 67% of his passes, had 31 touchdowns to only 5 INTs. All in all, totaling that up in his high school career, he had over 8,000 passing yards, 80 touchdowns to only 16 interceptions. And I know some of you may be sitting here wondering, because I was wondering the same thing. Matt, why does it only say he had 104 45.9 yards per game? That's a great question, my friend, because it was mind-boggling me as well. And when I did some research, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. They were counting his freshman season in that as well. All in all, for his high school career, really good and really solid. And with him having these great seasons, that was good enough to earn him a 4-star overall recruit ranking. And it goes without being said, he had offers from all the big-time schools out there. And here's the real crazy part about this. With him being listed at 6'5", we'll just say roughly 220, there were some serious talks about this guy being a real and legit starting quarterback in the NFL one day. We're not talking about college. No. We're talking about the NFL. Of course, I don't want to be naive here because hindsight's 2020, but it's crazy to even think that there was talks about this guy going to the NFL compared to where he's at now, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. A little foreshadowing here. And the reason I say I'm being naive here is because back then, you didn't know what the future held. All we knew back then is Dylan McCaffrey was the son of a former NFL player. He also had over 8,000 passing yards, 80 touchdowns, and only 16 interceptions, and to go on top of that, he was a 4-star recruit. But here's what jumps off the board to me, and I think it's why a lot of people was high on him. 6'5", 220. Yeah, if you know anything about quarterbacks, that's like a perfect build. I always thought anywhere from 6'3" to 6'6". That was the sweet spot. Anything above 6'6", it's like, all right, you need to play basketball, bro. What are you doing? We need to get a move on, though. So continuing along with our story here, Dylan McCaffrey, he winds up committing and signing with no other than Michigan. That's great. All fine and dandy. And remember, back in 2017, Michigan wasn't this powerhouse like they were last year in the past couple of years. They weren't one of the top dogs. So it wasn't unreasonable to think that Dylan McCaffrey one day could be the starting quarterback for Michigan. Jim Harbaugh liked the kid. He liked his game. So it was just all up to Dylan McCaffrey could he win the job. Well, in 2018, as a freshman, didn't really play whatsoever. Saw some garbage time here and there, completed a little over 50% of his passes, had 2 touchdowns and 0 INTs. So there's not too much to say there, but fast forward time into 2019, here's where things start to change a little bit. Well, I say things change a little bit, my apologies. I'm trying to make it seem like he went off the next year and passed for 2,000 yards. No, I'm just talking about his stats change a little bit. He was still playing in garbage time. I believe at the time when I was looking it up, Shea Patterson was still the quarterback at Michigan, so he didn't win the job over him. And he did play a little bit more. He had more pass attempts, but similar situation. He wasn't playing too much, and obviously, he's not happy about that. But he winds up sticking it out at Michigan because he feels like there's somehow, some way, a chance he might win the starting job. So we're now in the time frame of 2020. This is his 3rd and official year at Michigan, or at least we thought. He's trying to win the quarterback job against Joe Milton, winds up losing it, and McCaffrey decides, you know what? There's no point of even playing this season, so he doesn't play in 2020. And I don't blame him whatsoever for sitting out that 2020 season. I don't blame him. But right when the 2020 season ends, so early in 2021, on January 21st, Dylan McCaffrey officially enters the transfer portal. And now this is where things in our story take a weird, that's what I'm going to call it. It's just a weird turn. Normally when you see a quarterback leave a team like Michigan, a team in the Power 5 to be more specific here, they always stay within the Power 5, or maybe they may go down to a lower D1 team. Where I'm trying to get with this is they're still going to join a recognizable team and brand. For example, we saw Kyle McCord. He left Ohio State and he winds up joining, was it? Hold on. Who did he join? I'm drawing a blank here. Was it Rutgers? No, it wasn't Rutgers. What team did Kyle McCord join? What team did he join? Oh, yeah, Syracuse. My apologies. I was drawing a blank there. Similar situation. Yeah, we all know Syracuse, not a great football team. You could argue and say they're not even a good football team, but recognizable team and brand. Well, Dylan McCaffrey decides to take one of the wildest routes you're ever going to see. He winds up deciding to join no other than Northern Colorado. Yes, that's right. You heard me correctly. Not Colorado, Northern Colorado. And I ain't going to hold y'all. I didn't even know Northern Colorado was a team. And matter of fact, I'm curious. Are they D1? Hold on, let me look it up. Oh, yeah. Come to find out, Northern Colorado, the Northern Colorado Bears, they are D1. Although they are Division 1, they are FCS Division 1, so just keep that in the back of your mind. And you may be sitting there wondering, well, Matt, why in the world would Dylan McCaffrey transfer to Northern Colorado? There's got to be some ties and connection there, and if you're thinking that, you're right, because guess what? That's where his dad was the head coach at. Ah, yes, you see. Makes a lot of more sense. And when I found that out, I was like, okay, bingo. It's all adding up. Because remember, Dylan McCaffrey played his high school football in Colorado, and now he's going back home. And I don't want to sit up here and say it seemed like this was going to be a match made in heaven, but it definitely felt like this was going to work out for the better. You got a 4-star recruit coming to Northern Colorado. Yeah, he's going to win the starting job, and this is going to be the dream story we talk about. You got the father-son duo, the son, the former high school star quarterback playing for his dad in college. This story's going to end in rainbows, sunshine, and butterflies, right? Wrong. Couldn't be any farther from the truth. In 2021, yes, Dylan winds up winning the starting job, but he wasn't too good. Completed 60% of his passes, had 1,300 passing yards, and 5 touchdowns to 7 INTs. Not very good whatsoever, but hey, it was his first real deal season of playing college football, so maybe we cut him some slack here. And if you were to cut him some slack on that season, you might be wrong because next year wasn't too better. His completion percentage actually dropped a tick, and yeah, he had roughly 2,000 passing yards, but he didn't take care of the ball. Had 12 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. And there's no real way to sugarcoat this. You know I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He wasn't very good. In 2021, Northern Colorado, his first year there, Dylan McCaffrey, they went 3-8. His second year there, which was his final and last year, they went, drum roll please. You want to take a guess? 3-8. And this 2022 season, although it was only his second year of being a starting quarterback, this was the end of Dylan McCaffrey's career because of not even one, but 2 big flaws. Remember those first couple years at Michigan in 2018 and 2019 where he was the backup quarterback? Yeah, he only passed the ball 30-something times, and like I said, he was the backup, but here's the key. He appeared in over 4 games each season. And some of you may be wondering, well, Matt, why does that matter? Because the way the NCAA has it up, if you appear in less than 4 games, you can redshirt that year. But if you appear in more than 4 games, oh, no, you have to burn a year of eligibility, and that's what happened. And since he burned those couple years of eligibility at Michigan, he only had 2 left, and he used them, and that was it. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that appears to be the end of good old Dylan McCaffrey's football career. And it looks like Dylan, he came to a self-realization moment. Yeah, realization. Yeah, there we go. That he wasn't going to the NFL and he wasn't that good in college. And you can say what you want about him. You can say he flopped at the collegiate level. You can say he sucked, and I can't fault you for saying that because his numbers, they back up those claims. But here's what I will tell you. I respect a man who knows when to give it up. It looks like he just looked at his career and said, you know what, I'm not that good of a quarterback and I'm hanging it up. There's no need to drag this out. We see it all the time where these guys that aren't good enough to make it to the NFL, and I'm not faulting a man for chasing his dreams, but you know what I'm talking about. They try playing in all these crazy leagues, they join all these practice squads, and it's really for nothing. And y'all know what I'm talking about. A better analogy is basketball. There's still guys at your local YMCA that are in their 30s thinking they got a legit shot of going into the NBA. I'm not playing. If you know what I'm talking about, you know there's some very delusional people out here. Thankfully, though, Dylan McCaffrey isn't one of those guys, and I know what you're sitting there saying, okay, Matt, well, if his football career didn't turn out to be successful, what is he doing? And that now leads us into the part of our story where things get really, and I mean really interesting. What I'm about to get into next is one of the biggest plot twists you may ever see in a story video like we do on the channel here. So Detective Matt being in the building, I did like I always do. I try to find his Instagram, and come to find out, he doesn't have an Instagram, or at least an active one, which is a bummer because more times than not, the Instagram is going to tell us everything we need to know. I looked for, I believe, it was either 2 or 3 hours trying to find his Instagram and old Instagram, couldn't find one. Came to the conclusion he doesn't have one, and then I turned my focus to, okay, what about Twitter? And guess what? Bingo, we got a hit. I found this Twitter account, and yes, this is Dylan McCaffrey's official account, and I'll prove that in just a second. And obviously, too, the guy has 17,000 followers on Twitter. This has got to be him. And immediately when I clicked on the profile, the website he has linked in his bio, it stuck out to me. This word right here, more specifically, mushrooms.com. Yeah, definitely interesting. Very interesting, to say the least. And just to clarify, this was Dylan McCaffrey's Twitter. I was scrolling through, making sure, you know, it wasn't some troll account or whatnot, and there's just a bunch of reposts. He doesn't post too much himself. He's just reposting a bunch of stuff from his brothers. And then also, I scrolled all the way back to see that he was reposting stuff about Northern Colorado when he was playing football there. Well, then in 2023, I started noticing he starts reposting stuff from this account right here, Bridgetown Mushrooms. Reposting a bunch of stuff left and right, and it looks like, and this is the conclusion I've came to is he is somehow affiliated with them. It looks like one of two things. Either A, he owns this business, or B, he's a co-owner. Because it's not like he's some affiliate and they're paying him to post this because his tweets get very low engagement, and this Bridgetown Mushrooms Twitter account, they only have like 30 followers. Now here's the thing, okay? I don't know how much Dylan McCaffrey is involved with this mushroom business or just mushrooms in general, but here's what I do know. He's involved with them somehow, some way. Take that for what you want. Do what you want with the information. I'm just here to present it to you. I'm not making any assumptions because I genuinely have no idea what's going on. The only thing I can tell you is it's definitely one of the weirdest plot twists I've ever seen. I don't know, it just caught me off guard. I didn't expect to see that stuff on his Twitter, and I don't think you guys did either. And on Twitter as well, the only picture he has is his profile picture where it looks like he's hiking in the mountains. So I'm going to assume at this point in time, Dylan McCaffrey is just your regular Joe Schmo out here. He has a bunch of hobbies, and I don't know where he's working, but I'm sure he's working, and seems like he's enjoying life, or at least I hope he is. I'm wishing the best of luck to him, man. What a story. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts and everything down below. But